You're watching this special broadcast on the buck stops here, coming to you live from Jantar Mantar in the heart of India's political capital and very close to India's parliament. This is where all Indians come to protest. The protesters can range from students from the northeast to disability rights activists to angry government employees. There are all kinds here at any given moment. But now something has changed here. It's not just people who come to protest and sit on Dharna, it's politicians. First, it was Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. And today, it is Andhra Pradesh's Chief Minister, a Congress leader, Kiran Reddy, who's leading a Dharna, a sit-in to protest against his own party's decision to go ahead with the creation of Telangana in Parliament. On this special episode, as we broadcast to you from the venue, the heart of India's political capital where protests take place, we're asking whether democracy by Dharna is a sign of deepening democracy, or has it just become a copycat syndrome, a farcical drama? Has India become a republic of protests? And will the issues such as Telangana or the rights of northeastern students be actually pushed onto the back burner as the drama of Dharnas takes front stage instead? Let's introduce our guest this evening. With me here at Jantar Mantar, Nirmala Sitharaman, senior leader of the BJP. Also with me is Mr. L. Lagrapati. He's a senior leader of the Congress party and he's been sitting on Dharna this morning all day at Jantar Mantar before he heads to meet the president. We'll also be joined by Renuka Chaudhary of the Congress party in a moment. We're joined by Prashant Bhushan of the Aam Aadmi party. His party, of course, was also on Dharna this morning. They claimed that their controversial Delhi Law Minister Somnath Bharti has been vindicated as reports surface of 3 Ugandan women who say they were forced into the sex trade racket. And the Aam Aadmi party, it could be said, pioneered the business of politicians being on Dharna. And we're also joined by sociologist Shiv Vishwanathan. And before I come to those leaders who actually represent the politics of Dharna, I want to start with Nirmala Sitharaman for being the one party whose politicians are actually not on Dharna so far. Is that going to change? Is Dharna become the new fad? Has street politics become the new way of not just protesters and people, but even politicians of getting their point across? You're from Andhra Pradesh. What do you make of the fact that the Congress party today is on Dharna?
Well, protests are not new to our democracy. Sometimes, yes, when governments have shared responsibility between the centre and the state, and when they are unable to convince the centre, they do take to the course of, a protest,
street protest,
which I'll certainly recall from my BJP days. It's one of our own senior leader had protested against the killing of a businessman in the Connaught Place area and asking the Delhi police, which comes under the MHA, for a better, action on the incident. But that is a specific case of power being shared on a particular subject which matters to a state and the centre. And when the two parties are totally different, at the centre being ruled by one party and the state being a different party. But in this particular instance, or two instances which you are referring to,
yes,
it is very clearly the parties which are in power and parties which are friends, parties which are together. You're talking about the Aam Aadmi party and the Congress, both of whom are friends in Delhi government, and they are sitting against each other, or as it were together, on an issue on which they are expected to perform. They're not performing. So that's one thing. And second, which is a very critical issue on which you have asked me and referred to me as, oh, you're also from Andhra Pradesh.
Yes.
I'll tell you, in the last 10 years, that state, which is very well endowed, has just slid and to such a state today that no governance is happening. And on that issue, which is very, very critical, which is not a new issue, the bifurcation of the state.
Yes.
You've seen the various flip-flops of the ruling party, Congress, and the opposition party, TDP, who were once with us also as an alliance partner.
Yeah.
But today, the chief minister belonging to that very party, which has
on
sent
Dharna.
the bill, has not only sat on Dharna, but had rejected the, the bill which came to them in the assembly.
Yes.
So, in other words, the Congress party not only is not able to manage the country, is unable to manage its own. And they are sitting in protest on the road. What a mockery.
So do you believe, and Renuka Chaudhary is with us as well, and do you believe, Nirmala Sitharaman, that dharnas have become a mockery? That when used to often they have become a mockery? Or do you believe that just like people are entitled to sit on dharna, so are politicians?
Well, I'm not saying dharnas are mockeries.
Yes.
Dharnas can be very effective tool for raising an issue, public consciousness and everything else. But here when it is your own, where you should have methods of talking with your own people in an internal democratically run party. You expect your own people to discuss inside the party's fora and then take a call. Not only that, you are in power and center and also in the state. You owe responsibility of orderly resorting of solving of issues.
In an internal forum.
That's right. You don't spill over in public.
Okay, now the fact of the matter is that the Congress has spilt over in public. Renuka Chaudhary and Mr. Lagrapati are sitting together. They're smiling right now. But the fact of the matter is that there is a rupture in the party. And I am going to get the Aam Aadmi Party on having pioneered in a way this business of sometimes people sitting in protest against their own governments, being elected governments and sitting in protest. Mr. Lagrapati, you've been sitting on Dharna all morning. Renuka, I'll come to you in a second. You've been part of this Dharna here at Jantar Mantar. Why can't you discuss this in the internal party forum? Nobody's listening to you. That's the problem.
See, here we are trying to say,
yes,
we are trying to bring about eye-opener for everyone that Assembly has rejected this bill.
Yes.
And Rahulji has repeatedly said, we need to empower the people. When you say empower the people, that means we need to hear their voice. The people's voice is reflected through the public representatives in the Assembly, and the public representative's voice is very clear that the bill has to be rejected. Even now, if they don't have a relook into it, they need to understand why people are suffering, why people are in anguish.
But do you believe an elected chief minister like Mr. Kiran Reddy and all of you should be sitting on Dharna? After all, Parliament is not even a stone's throw away from where we are sitting. This debate should take place in Parliament.
See, we explored every possibility. We tried to bring about a change within the Congress leadership, and we tried to bring about the plight of Andhra Pradesh, the division of Andhra Pradesh, to the national attention.
Yes.
We did bring. So now we feel Parliament is in session. We want all the member of parliaments, cutting across various parties and various regions, have to think. Today is happening in Andhra Pradesh. Unilateral, discriminatory and undemocratic actions being taken against Andhra Pradesh.
But it's your own government, sir. It's your own government. Are you calling your own government unilateral, discriminatory, undemocratic?
So what I'm saying, it doesn't matter who makes a mistake. A mistake is a mistake. I need to blame whoever it is, whether it's my party or other party.
But you've been confident throughout that there will be no Telangana. So why are you sitting on Dharna? You've been telling me from the beginning there will be no Telangana.
I'm sure end of the day it will not happen. And we're almost very close. Next 10 days is there.
Yes.
And 31st of February, last of Parliament, definitely will accept that.
And if it happens, your Chief Minister said he'll quit politics if it happens. Will you also quit politics if it happens?
I did say on 30th of July on your show, very clearly said, the moment state is divided, I said I'll quit politics. I said 6 months back, not now. 6 months back, I was very sure, because it's going to be an undemocratic decision. People are against this. And Rahulji says you want to empower people.
So you're saying Rahul Gandhi is not listening to his own party in Andhra Pradesh. That's what you're saying in other words. And Nirmala is smiling at that because that's what you're saying.
You don't listen to majority people,
yes,
which is reflected to Assembly resolution,
yes,
and public representatives. You don't listen to your CM, your union ministers, your MPs, MLAs. Whom else are you going to listen to?
So that's a very good question and we'll take it around the panel. But Renuka Chaudhary, you've sometimes called yourself the daughter of Telangana. What do you make of this Dharna? Dharna is the new tool of politicians. Now, your own chief, do you consider Kiran Reddy still your chief minister?
No, of course.
You consider him your chief minister?
Yes, of course.
He's sitting in Dharna right behind you.
Minister.
He's sitting in Dharna right behind you.
Why is that a surprise?
Will you join him?
No, I won't.
You're on the other side of the divide, but will you join him?
There is no other side. We are all people from Andhra Pradesh at this point.
Yes.
And a request was made, a demand was made by the people residing in the Telangana region that they want a separate state.
Yes.
Now, why are we surprised at someone sitting on a dharna? Because militant non-violence is something that was spelt out by Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi used militant non-violence, which is sitting on a dharna,
when Arvind Kejriwal sat on a dharna,
as a means to gain an end.
Ma'am, I agree. But when Arvind Kejriwal sat on a dharna, your party and the BJP criticized that. And I'm going to go to Prashant Bhushan. But you called him an anarchist. Will you now call Kiran Reddy an anarchist? You called Arvind Kejriwal an anarchist for sitting on a dharna.
Let me spell out the difference.
Yes. What's the difference between Arvind Kejriwal and Kiran Reddy?
He is not sitting at Republic Day and saying, I will fill the people with lakhs of people. He is not interfering or interrupting any daily business of life. He is not sitting in his own home state. He's come to Delhi, to Jantar Mantar, where every day lakhs of Indians come to put a message across.
So you're saying it can't be compared?
Of course, how can you even compare what Kiran Reddy is doing to?
It is designated area for.
This is prescribed. Is he stopping traffic? Is he talking anarchist language?
But is the essence different?
Is
Nirmala
he
Sitharaman, is the
saying
essence different?
Absolutely.
Is the essence different? Because I don't Shan wants to come in, but I'll get.
Has he said anything like that?
Okay, Nirmala, is it different? Do you agree with Renuka on this one rare moment of agreement?
See, protests, especially when your party at the center and the state are the same, you're the chief minister of a state,
yes,
where this problem has been persistently on for decades,
yes,
and it reached a kind of a peak after 2009. This is not the first time the Congress party is talking in double-edged kind of a language.
It's not double-edged, it's the fantastic democracy we practice.
You've had, in the last 5 years, the Union Home Minister, also belonging to the Congress, making a midnight announcement.
Mr. Chidambaram.
Yes. Mr. Chidambaram. And in the Indian history, Free India's history, for the first time, a Home Minister had to retract his statement as regards formation of a state.
But how is Arvind Kejriwal and Kiran Reddy different?
No, wait a minute. And therefore, a party which has had this history of taking a step and retracting because they're not able to convince their own, has reached this stage today when the chief minister himself
Wait
a minute. I understand your eagerness to have to clarify my statement, but let me make my statement in the
I think the BJP has a lot to clarify to the country.
We have not messed up Andhra Pradesh, ma'am.
You have messed up the nation.
But you are in
power.
You are
going to be voted out
you
for
are
that.
In power. How are delivering on every
They are in power in the center. They are power in the state.
People
and
have
they are the
elected
ones who
us.
are protesting on the streets. And they have the cheek to tell the opposition is the one which is obstructing the parliament when it is their MPs always in the well of the house. Anyway, the protest aspect of this. When the chief minister comes and also gets the acceptance of their own party saying, oh, it is possible.
Yes.
Mahatma Gandhi, I dare compare Mahatma Gandhi in this matter. That was a foreign government. This is our own government. It is your own party which is ruling. You're not able to convince? I'm sorry.
That's a good question.
Comparison is spurious.
That's a good question.
Dangerous.
Shiv Vishwanathan, let me put the same question to you. Do you see any comparisons between what Arvind Kejriwal did and what Kiran Reddy is doing today?
Yeah, different varieties of the same act. Let's face it, the politics of protest is the politics of problem solving. But there's one difference. I think Kejriwal wants to solve a problem. I think Kiran Reddy wants to make sure that a problem remains unsolved. I think there's a difference in style, there's a difference in timing. There's also a Dharma to Dharna politics. I mean, Nirmala Sitharaman quoted Gandhi. It's not a question of foreign versus local, but I think it's something more fundamental. What is the logic of protest? What is the code of protest? How long can it last? I think we have to answer these questions. A politics of protest as a politics of sympathy, I can understand. A politics of protest as an attempt to understand problems, I can understand. But a politics of protest must become a politics of problem solving. This is not yet clear in Indian politics.
Very interesting. Okay, now this is interesting. Shiv Vishwanathan, Nirmala Sitharaman is saying that the difference between the two is that Mr. Kejriwal wanted to solve a problem. Kiran Reddy, by being on a protest, actually wants to defer the problem. Please respond to that, and then I'll go to Mr. Bhushan, who I believe is back with us.
As an analyst,
yes,
Mr. Shiv Vishwanathan saying that Kejriwal's approach here is towards problem solving, whereas Kiran Reddy's is not problem solving.
Yes,
is not right. Probably this is the only way left for Kiran Reddy to solve his problem. And whereas Kejriwal is the chief minister looking at the situation in Delhi, whether his minister was right in going and raiding women, even if they were engaged. Today, if they're sounding, very self-vindictive, saying that it was all right.
We were right.
It was all right for Somnath Bharti to do. Today, even if it is vindicated, that position is vindicated, it is not proper for the minister to go and order a police officer, and he should have legally and constitutionally
explored other
methods.
means. Okay.
He shouldn't have done that. And therefore, Kejriwal is not right, even going by Shiv Vishwanathan's analysis. And Kiran Reddy is not probably wrong in the way in which Vishwanathan is arguing. Both are seeking a solution which they can otherwise resort to by other methods.
Okay, before I get the Congress in, Prashant Bhushan, do you see any similarities between what Arvind Kejriwal did and what Kiran Reddy is doing today? Yes, Prashant, go ahead.
No, there are similarities, but there are differences as well. Similarities are that both were protesting peacefully on a legitimate issue. The difference is that while Arvind Kejriwal was protesting against the central government, asking for the Delhi police to be placed under the jurisdiction of the Delhi government and for the Delhi police to have proper accountability, which he was highlighting on the basis of 3 recent issues which had arisen at that time. Kiran Reddy is protesting essentially against the decision of the central government, which is headed by his own political party. This is the difference, but I do agree that everybody, including the Chief Minister of a state, has the right to protest against the central government, even if that government happens to be of his own political party. Of course, that shows a kind of dysfunctionality within that political party, that they are not in a position to internally discuss and sort out the problems within the party. But I would say that everybody, including a chief minister of the same political party, has a right to protest against the central government headed by his own political party, so long as he does it peacefully, so long as he is not causing any serious problems.
I understand what you're saying, but there are a number of people, who said that if chief ministers come on the streets, who's going to run the government? You know, this is a very important question. When Mr. Kejriwal was on the street, when Kiran Reddy and his entire government, as it were, is on the streets, who is going to run the government if chief ministers go on Dharna, Prashant?
No, governments of course need to run, and even while Arvind Kejriwal was protesting on the streets, was on Dharna on the streets, he was still doing the essential work of the government even while sitting on the streets. But of course, if for 1 or 2 days or even 3-4 days on a very important issue, a chief minister is not able to do as much work as he could have done had he not been on a dharna, I think it would still be justified if the issue that he is raising is an important one. So therefore, the fact that a chief minister is on a dharna for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days does not mean that governance has come to a standstill or that he has abdicated governance in favor of dharna, etc. It just means that, to some extent, he has deferred to some extent he is not being able to take care of some of the issues of governance for a larger and a bigger cause.